Donald Trump's presidency was just dealt its most devastating blow yet, and he is in a state of utter collapse, because the House of Representatives just voted in historic fashion to pass a bill to force the release of the Epstein files. That bill, of course, now moves on to the Senate, where Congressman Khanna, who's been leading the charge on the release of the Epstein files, says he suspects it to pass. Now, Donald Trump has said that he will sign this bill, that he'll move forward with transparency, but no one believes that, especially after witnessing his collapse today. We're going to get into it all, but first, if you could leave a like on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps support our work. Now, before we get into Trump's collapse and we talk about why this is an important moment, but why we have to keep pushing, listen to what Jamie Raskin said.
We ask the Senate to join us without changes rather than obstruct this bill with dilatory amendments, legislative graffiti, and self-dealing million-dollar jackpot provisions for lucky senators. Just pass the bill. We're finally voting today because a bipartisan discharge petition led by Representatives Massey and Khanna and signed by 218 of us overthrew the determined obstruction of the Speaker. This forced vote means the House will no longer acquiesce in this astonishing real-time cover-up of a multi-billion-dollar global sex trafficking and child rape ring that has ravaged the lives of more than 1,000 girls and young women. We're here today because these victims, these survivors, these citizens, these inspiring women who have come to Washington are demanding nothing less than justice and the complete truth about who is responsible for their vicious abuse, including those responsible for enabling it, ignoring it, bankrolling it, and covering it up. We join them today in rejecting any more dangerous lies about the crimes they suffered. No, child sex abuse is not a hoax. It's a crime. Human trafficking is not a hoax. It's a crime. These crimes are a curse on children and young people across America, in universities and elementary schools, in churches and mosques and synagogues, in Boy Scout troops and college sports teams and summer camps. Anywhere the powerful and the rich believe they've got the opportunity and the impunity to exploit the young, the poor, the powerless, and the vulnerable. We must face the truth and find the co-conspirators still at large in one of America's most extensive and sophisticated sex trafficking and child abuse rings in history. Release of the file will expose the role of everybody who facilitated and covered up these crimes, like J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, and Bank of New York Mellon, which executed billions of dollars in transactions related to these offenses, as well as any bank executives who participated in the sexual abuse of girls and young women. We must expose everyone who covered up these crimes, like Alex Acosta, the former U.S. attorney in Miami, Donald Trump's labor secretary, who gave Jeffrey Epstein an unbelievable sweetheart plea deal, immunized unnamed conspirators, and killed an investigation into Epstein's financial crimes that could have brought down the entire criminal network.
Why I wanted to start with that is because Republicans have already tried to spin this, saying that Democrats are only trying to be selective in the files that they want to release, that we don't actually care about transparency, that they care about transparency, but we're doing this for political purposes. It's an outlandish lie coming from the people who have spent months, trying to block the release of these files. And they can't anymore. They can't. The files are going to be released. Donald Trump will try to stand in the way, though. He'll try to be selective in what is shared. The DOJ will certainly do whatever is possible to say, well, you can't release everything. We're going to pick little parts here and there. The Senate might even begin to do that. Put amendments on the release of the Epstein files to protect Donald Trump. But we know that this is a devastating blow to him today because we just saw him melt down in the Oval Office. Take a look at this.
Is that pretty good?
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible insubordinate and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched up. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times. I never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files.
Now, if that doesn't say panic, I don't know what does. Donald Trump is in a state of collapse, and it's why Democrats have to continue pushing. It's why Jasmine Crockett and her call out of Trump and all of MAGA, again trying to shift the narrative today, is so important. Check out what Crockett said.
I'm not going to do it, but I am going to say that he is full of, okay, I'm going to do it. He's full of shit. Because here's the thing. Number one, we know that he didn't even bring the House back in because he was trying to avoid us dealing with Epstein. In fact, he would not even swear in a duly elected, now new member of Congress, depriving and having to be sued by her state and others because they literally did not have any representation. He violated the Constitution to avoid this. So miss me on pretending that this is about the victims. In addition to that, when we finally released some of the information that we got from the Epstein estate and we had all the victims' names redacted, who was it that was out there saying, oh, and this person is the person that is supposedly mentioned in this section?
The Republicans,
The Republicans did that to the extent that that victim's family had to come out against them for revealing potentially her name. So they're full of it. So right now, what I think is going to happen, the only reason that he is switched is because obviously he has had lots of conversations. Either the Senate is not going to take it up or they don't have the votes in the Senate. One of the two. But he never plans for this to actually go forward.
Oh, you think this is going to get killed in the Senate?
I think that this is going to get killed some way, somehow. Or the other option is that I think they're going to do the very same thing, and not necessarily the same thing, but the very reason that the files could not be released before is because there were active cases that were taking place. All the cases have been concluded because this administration decided they didn't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein. So they weren't going to investigate whatsoever. So now the files can be open. But now he said, look into my enemies. I want you to investigate this hoax. Well, if there's open cases, then that is your excuse for legally not allowing those documents to be out.
Well, you're saying something that Republican Congressman Thomas Massie of Kentucky, whose bill this is to force the Epstein files out, Trump has told the Justice Department to investigate prominent Democrats, including former President Bill Clinton, and their alleged ties to Jeffrey Epstein. That concerns Massie for the reason you said. Take a listen.
If they have ongoing investigations in certain areas, those documents can't be released. So this might be a big smokescreen, these investigations, to open a bunch of them as a last-ditch effort to prevent the release of the Epstein files.
Or it could just block the release of the ones having to do with Democrats and any other people that might be released. But either way, you share his concern.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think that this is about all of a sudden he woke up on the right side of history, right? Like, I don't. He has consistently gone against his own base. He's told them on Truth Social, stop talking about this. They shut down the House in a time when Americans could not eat, all because they did not want to deal with the Epstein files. And he has called it a hoax. And now he's saying that, well, there's something to investigate. He is all over the place. The one thing that we know for sure is that he was sued not once, but at least twice by alleged child sex victims alongside Epstein. You tell me what other Democrat was named as a defendant alongside Epstein prior to all of this jazz ever happening. We're talking about 9 years ago.
Just to note that those cases never went anywhere.
They didn't go anywhere, but the allegations definitely were made, and they were made in coordination with someone that we know. After looking at the emails, Jeffrey Epstein, when he was charged in 2009, he said in those emails, I'm going to have to take the deal for the mandatory minimum of 10 years because I'm afraid I will get more time. after he got a sweetheart deal from Alex Acosta, he then ended up indicted again in 2019. So the one thing that I can tell you is while those civil cases may have gone away, we know for sure that Epstein himself admitted that he was a criminal. So just because the cases went away, it doesn't necessarily mean that the president has been absolved.
I want to ask you about your House colleague, Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia.
Yeah.
Viewers will remember you once called her a bleach blonde, bad-built, butch body during a House committee meeting. For the record, she insulted you first. She had insulted you first.
That is true.
The rivalry aside, you both agree on the Epstein thing. This has put her on the outs with President Trump. I want to play something that she said to my colleague Dana Bash yesterday on CNN.
I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics.
You posted, "This almost feels like a moment where Marge should phone a friend. I'm here for you, girl." Have you spoken, and what's your reaction to what she just said?
Okay, so I want you to know that there was sarcasm.
I assume so, but I didn't want to state it.
I was being sarcastic, but there's always a little bit of truth in jest. So I do want to be clear that another portion of that post is I said, I told you you couldn't trust him. And I believe that. I believe that we all need to pay attention to Trump and how he acts. He is the cause of all the confusion and the destruction that we have seen in politics as far as I'm concerned. Because it used to be we could disagree, and that was that. I disagree with a lot of Republicans, but it does not necessarily turn violent. Ever since he's been introduced into politics, we have seen a consistent spike in the violence when it comes to politics. So here's the deal with Marjorie. I can appreciate what she says, but I'm gonna have to see her actions.
Look, we cannot let them try and change the narrative, which is what MAGA is trying to do right now today. They're saying they were always in favor of this, that they were completely supportive of transparency. But Democrats are playing political games. That is not true. We have to continue to call that out. We will on this show. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep fighting. Don't let them silence you. Until next time, I'll see you.